My dad stared at me across the kitchen table, his coffee untouched, his voice calm but sharp. "Why didn't you drive?" he asked. I forced a smile and shrugged. "My husband's mother took my car." The room went silent. Dad frowned. "Took it? For what?" I hesitated. Then I said the words that had been choking me for months. "She said it was to keep me dependent." That was the moment my father finally saw the truth. My name is Emily Carter, and for the past 3 years, I had been living in a cage disguised as a marriage. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Suburban home, stable husband, Sunday dinners with family. But behind closed doors, my life was being quietly dismantled, piece by piece, by one woman, Margaret. My mother law.it started small. When I married her son, Daniel, Margaret insisted it was practical for us to move into the guest house behind her main home while we saved money. Daniel agreed. I didn't argue. Then she offered to help manage our finances. She convinced Daniel it was smarter if everything went through her. I lost access to our savings. Next came the car. One morning, I woke up to find my keys gone. Margaret stood in the kitchen, sipping tea like nothing happened. "I'll be using your car for a while," she said. "You don't need it anyway. You work from home." When I protested, she smiled sweetly. "A dependent wife stays loyal. Too much freedom ruins marriages." Daniel didn't stop her. He never stopped her. Days turned into weeks. I couldn't visit my parents. Couldn't go grocery shopping alone. Couldn't even leave the house without asking permission. Margaret controlled everything: money, transportation, even what I cooked. She'd whisper things to Daniel when she thought I couldn't hear. "She's too emotional. She wouldn't survive on her own. She needs us." And slowly, he believed her. The night everything changed was when my dad showed up unexpectedly. He had driven 4 hours because I missed his birthday. When he saw me standing on the porch, pale and shaking, he knew something was wrong. That's when he asked the question, and when I answered, his jaw tightened. He leaned forward and said quietly, "Emily, are you ready to stop being controlled?" I looked at the locked door behind me, and for the first time in years, I whispered, "Yes." My dad didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He did something far more dangerous. He planned. That night, he stayed at a motel nearby. Before leaving, he slipped his phone into my hand. "Document everything," he said. "Texts, bank records, conversations. Don't confront anyone." For the next 2 weeks, I became invisible and observant. I discovered Margaret had transferred money from our joint account into one under her name. I recorded her admitting she took my car so I wouldn't run off. I saved messages where she told Daniel that if I ever left, she'd cut him off financially. But the real twist came when I uncovered something worse. Margaret had forged my signature on a loan, using my credit to remodel her house. Daniel didn't know. And that's when I realized something terrifying. My husband wasn't just weak. He was being controlled too. I changed my approach. Instead of fighting Margaret, I played along. I acted grateful, obedient, dependent. I let her think she'd won. Then my dad made his move. He contacted a lawyer, a financial investigator. And quietly, my parents transferred money into a private account in my name, one Margaret couldn't touch. The final step was Daniel. One evening, I sat him down and showed him everything. The recordings, the bank transfers, the forged documents. His face drained of color. "She told me you were irresponsible," he whispered. "That you'd ruin us." I looked him straight in the eye. "She ruined us. You let her." The next morning, while Margaret was out showing off her new kitchen, Daniel and I packed essentials. I left the house keys on the counter, but I didn't leave quietly. Before walking out, I logged into the banking app and froze every account tied to my name. The loan company was already notified. Legal papers were already filed. Margaret came home to flashing notifications and missed calls. For the first time, she wasn't in control, and she lost her mind. The court case lasted 6 months. 6 months of lies unraveling. Margaret cried on the stand, claiming she was only protecting her family. But the evidence was brutal. Financial abuse, fraud, coercive control. The judge didn't hesitate. She was ordered to repay every dollar she stole. The loan was transferred fully into her responsibility. Her credit destroyed. Daniel made his choice too. He stood beside me, publicly admitting his failure to protect his wife. We didn't save the marriage, but we saved ourselves. We divorced peacefully. No screaming. No revenge between us, just clarity. I moved back near my parents. Got a new job in the city. Bought my own car, paid for with money I earned myself. The first time I drove alone, windows down, music blasting, I cried at every red light. Freedom feels strange when you've been controlled for so long. Months later, my dad and I sat at the same kitchen table. This time, he smiled. "You drive here today?" he asked. I grinned and jingled my keys. Everywhere I go. Margaret hasn't spoken to me since the verdict. Daniel sends a polite message on holidays. And that's fine, because revenge wasn't yelling. It wasn't insults. It wasn't destruction. It was taking my life back, and no one will ever take my keys again.